see people that are not named, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, I will go ahead and get started. I'm going to do some introductions, but first I'm going to introduce Peggy Vassiliou. Peggy, where are you now?
I'm here.
There you are. Now I see you. She has somewhere to go, so I want to let her go ahead and go first, so she can. She is here representing Kipa, and she's going to be giving us an update on the wind turbine situation. Okay, Peggy.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all esteemed members of the Kytherian Society of California. Good evening, good morning, depending on where you are located on the map. To all attendees of this meeting that is bringing Kytherians and friends of Kythera together today. Lovely to meet you all. First, I would like to thank Vikki for inviting me to give you a short update on the hottest subject currently and over the last year on Kythera and about Kythera. That is the industrial wind farms that are threatening our island. For those who don't know me, my name is Peggy, and today representing the two bodies associated with the Kytherian opposition to those industrial wind farms. One is the Kythera Citizens Movement, the Dynamo, or Dynamo in English, that leads the fight, to which I'm a member. And the other one is the Kipa Foundation, the Kytherian Foundation for Culture and Development, of which I'm the secretary of the steering committee, that among other wonderful activities and programs that we do for Kythera, it also supports Dynamo on the front line by collecting donations towards the legal expenses of our cause. So I'm here today to share with you some bad news and some good news. I'll start with the bad news and progress gradually towards the good news, as I think it's always better to end up on a positive note. So the bad news on the legal front of the wind farms. On the 18th of March, just a month ago, the RAE, which is the Regulatory Energy Authority, announced the rejection of the appeals that were put forward by the municipality of Kythera, the Kipa Foundation, and 200 local citizens, as well as most associations of the island, regarding the 3 new production licenses of the Turner Group in the northwestern part of the island. These 3 production licenses have been granted specifically for the areas of, if you know, specific areas, Cordelides and Xerocambia, in the northern part of the island, within a protected area called Natura 2000, as well as in the area of Finikies, which is, as we all know, next to Logothetianica village. In Finikies, in particular, this is an additional license at the national record that has now been set, licensing wind turbines with a total height of 250 meters, which is almost about the size of the Eiffel Tower, which is 300 meters. Now, just to learn a little bit more about this very shortly and without boring you with technical information, these permits have been issued illegally as they do not take into account some basic parameters of the zoning for renewable energy sources, such as minimum distances from the settlements, distances from the main road network, sufficient distance from tourist settlements in those areas, sufficient distance from individual houses, alignment within the regulations of wind turbines in the landscape and what impact would have on the horizon, and least but not last, those industrial wind farms proposed are sited within a protection area, which is called Natura 2000. Now, unfortunately, our appeals were challenging, although they were challenging those illegalities that I've mentioned, they have been rejected. The rejection of those appeals have been based on the pretext that the Regulatory Energy Authority, RAE, have never been provided with sufficient facts and information by the government that would qualify it to recognize the illegalities on the developers' proposals. So that's the reason why we got rejected. Now, because this is the second time round that this happens on the same grounds, we were expecting this, so there was no surprise here. It is part of the procedure, we knew that. So what is next for us? We will now proceed as we have prepared for, with the next stage, that is to file applications for annulment of these acts, which will be adjudicated at the Administrative Court of Appeals of Athens. So if you ask me, so where are you, Kytherians and friends of Kythera currently, vis-a-vis the energy developers front? What is the situation then? Conclusively, so far, 3 production licenses of the Terna Group plus 4 production licenses of the Ellactor and Kopelouzos groups make a total licensed power of 116 wind turbines that have been proposed for Kythera, of 282 megawatts. And because these are 2 big numbers, just to make it simple, this is 80 times more than the energy the island needs. For us and for any reasonable person, this is totally unacceptable, and we are determined to ensure legality is respected in order to protect our island from industrialization, our fragile landscape from decimation, and ultimately our livelihood from decline. Now, the discussion on renewable energy sources started years ago on the island, and it is very, very important to us, especially now with the war in the Ukraine, that there are many more challenges on the energy front, which of course affects every country, every part of the world. Alternative proposals are also very important to us to come up with, which leads me to talk a bit about some very promising good news that I have to share with you. That is the energy community. During 2021, a very important development took place. The Municipal Council of Kythera decided to form a bipartisan committee to unite all voices in the struggle of Kythera against the industrial wind farms. Also, the same committee had one task to investigate whether an energy community in Kythera is viable. The committee consisted of a representative of Kipa. I will say some names just in case you can identify with the family names. So the committee consisted of a representative of Kipa, Ioannis Travasaros, that is, representatives of all 3 municipal parties, Mr. Sougiannis, Haralambos Sougiannis, the deputy mayor, who is also the coordinator of this committee, Nikolaos Magoulas and Georgios Didymiotis as the 2 leaders of the opposition parties, Dimitrios Panaretos, who represent the Enchorio Perusia, and 2 scientists, citizens, residents of the island, Manos Vassiliakis and Spiros Michalakakis. The committee, after investigating the current institutional and legal framework for renewable energy sources, unanimously opposed the installation of industrial wind turbines on Kythera, judging them unacceptable and destructive for the island. And they proposed, instead, the creation of an energy community. The unanimous proposal was for a non-profit energy community that in the first phase will have key members only the municipality of Kythera, the Enchorio Perusia, the domestic property committee, and other state legal entities of the island, but with the prospect to enlarge in the future to local businesses and citizens. And this is now where we are at. This is our new compass on Kythera to tackle the energy crisis. The implementation of a very small scale energy project with solar panels, photovoltaica, is considered, after investigation and conclusion, the best solution to contribute to the energy transition of the island while supporting the national goals of Greece, but always prioritizing the needs of the island and its inhabitants. This is, after all, the direction that our Greek Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, have proposed to all island municipalities, addressing them to follow the example of Halki, which is an island in the Aegean, which is a true case study of an energy community. Subsequently, on the 27th November of 2021, only a few months ago, our mayor, Mr. Charchalakis, announced the assignment of the next phase of the program, which is the formation of the energy community and the business plan to a specialized energy consultant, following the best practice of the energy communities on the basis of the market research and the conclusions of the bipartisan committee. He secured a fund of 12,400 euros for the first phase of consultation, and we are all now expecting to see the next phases come into place, which is licensing, construction, connection, and so on. That was a good news. Now, in the meantime, another important update I've got for you. Kythera, together with another four islands in the South Aegean, namely Amorgos, Kimolos, Sikinos, and Tinos, have been declared as a block entity of 5 islands among the 7 most endangered cultural heritage sites in Europe for 2021. And that is due to the potential installation of industrial wind farms. The program 7 Most Endangered is managed by Europa Nostra, which is the European Cultural Heritage Organization set up by citizens organizations working to preserve Europe's unique cultural and natural heritage in collaboration with the European Investment Bank Institute. In Greece, Europa Nostra is represented by the Hellenic Society of Environment and Culture. So the updates on this is that at the beginning of March this year, representatives of the Hellenic Society of Environment and Culture, Europa Nostra, and the European Investment Bank Institute visited Kythera in order to see for themselves the danger that the island is facing from the 7 industrial wind farms. Representatives of Dynamo, the Kythera citizens movement, showed them around the proposed sites. For example, they took them to Paleochora, to Milopotamos, to Phoenikies, to all sorts of places in the north and the west part of the island. The visit completed with a scheduled meeting in the cultural center of Potamos between the aforementioned representatives with selected local residents who represent the island's productive class, if you want, in all sectors affected. This means tourism, farming, culture, as well as there was a separate meeting between the representatives of the 3 European bodies with the bipartisan committee representing our local authorities. Now, what those meetings brought was a very fruitful dialogue that made clear the reason behind why the island's residents fight a good fight for their future, and the reason why their counter proposal of an energy community is the best and only sustainable solution for the island. Leaving Kythera, the representatives of Europa Nostra, the Hellenic Society of Environment and Culture, and the European Investment Bank Institute applauded us for the manner and the scope of our fight and promised us to expand the cooperation which, as you understand, is very important for us. I'll close this topic with a quote that the president of the Hellenic organization, Livia Kara, used in the aftermath of the Europa Nostra announcement when Kythera won its title of endangered site, that I think we can all connect with somehow. So she said, "These islands of the Aegean still remain a place where human beings can feel God's creation. They are small, little dots on our planet. But the beauty of this creation is reflected in pristine landscapes that mix with the sea and where people over centuries have created villages and monuments in harmony with nature. Yes," she continues, "the islands do need some renewable energy for their local needs, but they should not be turned into industrial zones with colossal wind turbines to be used by cities. Greece needs renewable energy, and it is already in a position to fulfill the quota required by Europe. We do believe in renewable energy for our country, but with the right zoning. So the European acknowledgement of the importance of this issue will give new hope to all those communities and to many others who are asking our support and will allow us to intensify our campaign." On this note, I'm reaching the end of my presentation, and I would like to thank the Kytherian Society of California for their heartfelt donation to Kipa towards the legal costs of our cause. We are always in need of funds to keep up with our good fight. So please, please, please do send donations as part of the society, as well as individuals. We have a designated account in Kipa for this cause, which you can recognize as a yellow icon that says Donation Wind Farms if you visit our website, www.kipafoundation.org. In our website, you can also get acquainted with our many lovely programs and activities that we run at Kipa, from Kythera Trails, which are trails, the old trails of the island, which we've been opening for years now and maintaining the old trails of the island. Then there is a Terra Kytheria, a wonderful new sustainable farming program that will certify our local olive oil and give incentives to the farming families of the island to continue to exist as farmers. A program to help also put into good use for the community neglected agricultural land, which, by the way, is a very dear program of our very dear founder of Kipa, Yorgos Kasimatis. Cycling routes, canyoning, and other wonderful outdoors activities, athletic activities for the local kids and their families to use our trails and cycling routes, and many more to come. So please mind this space. We would like to have you on board, become our members, send us your feedback, send us your ideas, and be active part of what we do in Kythera. A membership with Kipa, just so as you know, would cost from as little as 20 euros. And of course, it goes up to all levels of donations, which are most welcome and most needed. We depend on donations to keep up with the good work and make sure all Kytherians, whether at home or abroad, will continue to be proud of our homeland. It's time for me to leave you now. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stay for the long duration due to some commitments here in London. But if you have any queries on my presentation, please send them across and we will try to reply in due course.
Peggy, do you have time for a few questions?
Hello?
If they are quick, yes, I have 10 minutes.
Okay.
Peggy, how did
Yes.
they contact you? Tell them the email.
The email for my email or Kipa email.
No, for Dynamo or for whichever group we are working with at the moment.
Okay, so we've got, can you see me? Am I gone?
Hold on.
Your video went away, but could you put the URL in the chat?
It's in there. I just put it in.
Oh, did you put it in? Oh, okay,
Yep.
there it is. Yeah, thanks.
Kipa-foundation.org.
Let me find it again. Can you see me?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay.
Yep. It's there. The link is there.
I see it.
I will send on the chat room all the emails, the email for Dynamo and the email for Kipa. So you can contact us directly. I will send it now before I go, so you can all see it.
Thank you, Vikki. Peggy.
Any more questions for Peggy? Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you for coming, Peggy. We appreciate it. And we really appreciate all the hard work that the committee is doing to try to fight these, and gotta see what happens, I guess, you know.
Thank you for having me, and let's see what happens. We are up there to the challenge. Bye to everyone.
Bye-bye.
Feel lucky, Peggy.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye, Peggy.
I'll send all the emails now before I go.
Great.
No problem. I can tell you from experience up in the north, if any of you are residents or have been to Gerakari, a lot of the forest area has been cleared or graded by tractors and other machinery. And it's looking as though a lot of progress has been made to lengthen the roads for the delivery of said equipment. So it's frustrating and a bit sad, but unfortunately we haven't had much explanation from either the council or the mayor to tell us what exactly is going on. So
what would be the next step that Peggy, what would be the next step? You're talking about possibly becoming part of that union of endangered or protected land. So what's the next step to have that done, and what can we do?
The energy community is a counter proposal that for us is a real solution, which we are hoping that we will manage to pursue before any bad progress happens from the other side. Because at the end of the day, once we have a solution, once we have sorted, or we know how we're going to sort our energy issues, then there will be no real reason apart from profit for any industrial wind farms to be placed by companies. And since our Prime Minister has encouraged island communities to pursue energy communities, then this is the way to go. Europa Nostra is protecting us and is campaigning for us together with the other 4 islands. They have picked us because they believe that we represent what needs to be rescued as examples in Greece. Also, we keep on socially keep on communicating this issue with our local residents. We depend on the support of the local authorities who at the moment are with us. They have also they're part of the legal route that we have taken, and they are very serious about this. And we are also keep up to date with the science behind. Things change very quickly. Now the war has created new demands. We need to be on top of things. But once we have concluded unanimously that the best way forward and the only sustainable solution is the energy community, there is no looking back.
Peggy, is there a time frame? Is it seasonal? Is it every 3 or 4 months or 6 months that they meet, or do they have a schedule? of time?
Who are they? The developers, the wind
Well,
farm
the developers and also the other sustainable community. Do they meet once a year? Do they meet twice a year? Do they meet 3 or 4 times a year?
So the bipartisan community who still exists, although they have concluded what needs to be done, and from then on the mayor has appointed a consultant, an energy consultant who is a professional in order to lead the way towards the formation of the energy community. But the bipartisan committee still exists. It's there. It has the members have been meeting I don't know, once, twice a month since I left. I left in January. I left Kythera in January, but I do believe that they are still keeping up with their meetings. There is no time scale in terms of the energy community, apart from it's an urgent issue. So we really need to, whatever obstacles and difficulties exist, we really need to overcome them because it is urgent. Now, with regards to the developers, we have seen some new, let's faster activity than what used to be in the previous years. So, for example, our appeals for the previous against the previous cases of the previous 3 developers have taken much longer to be rejected in the court than the current one. So that shows that there is some faster activities on the part of the developers, potentially the government as well. We cannot define any time scale or deadline from their side. We are always looking for updates. We do believe that they will send some of their people to have a look on Kythera pretty soon if they haven't been there yet. So they are expected. But we are doing the best we can, and we have the right on our side. And we do believe that this is the right thing to do. The legal route is the right thing to do because we are based on illegalities. And we also have a counter proposal, a solution for our island. So this is not a no to finding a solution. This is to find the best solution, the only solution that is sustainable.
Peggy, we have one question. Is the Demos and Horio Perusia behind the fight to save Kythera from the turbines?
Yeah, absolutely. They are behind us. They are part of the legal route. We appealed in parallel. We have 2 different lawyers in order to complement each other with facts and figures and information and arguments. And the local authorities were part of the bipartisan committee. They were unanimous on their approach. Officially, they are on our side. So we don't have any reasons to believe that they are not, because from day one, they've been on our side. Now, what sort of pressure they are going to have to deal with, that's a different matter. But they haven't shown any doubt about the way to go, which is what we're doing.
And from my personal, Peggy, there are a couple of groups here working towards the same effort. You are part of a couple of them, if memory serves. But can you give some information on the other groups and their efforts, or?
Yeah, of course. there are two citizens groups, active citizens group. One is the Greek-speaking group, which is called the Kythera Citizens Movement, Dynamo. And the other one is, I keep calling it the sister group, the English-speaking sister group. It's pretty much the same group, but with English-speaking people. It's called the Wind Turbines Information Group. They run a wonderful website where they post articles, updates, everything that someone needs to read in order to understand what the current situation is in Kythera, compared as well with other parts of Greece. So the Kythera Citizens Movement is a much more grassroots organization, which basically leads the legal battle, as well as the social coming together of the residents, and it's a wonderful collaboration because they are also complementary groups. The cause is the same. The ways to get there are slightly different. The skills as well of both groups are different. The passion of the members of both groups is the same. And also what is very important is the lobbying with the European residents of Kythera, people who have houses from other parts of Europe, as well as Australia, as well as New Zealand, as well as America, and extremely important, the diaspora of the Kytherian diaspora, because although they're away, I'm sure that you guys are always close to your homeland. So it's really important that you know what is happening, understand what we're trying to do there, and hopefully you are on our side and you can, you show the same concern and the same passion to protect your homeland.
It should also be known that Peggy is not from Kythera. So it's very nice to know that there are people that aren't from the island that actually have some support and want to see the betterment of Kythera. So Peggy is doing this completely altruistically. So yeah.
We all do. The most important things are what you don't do for the money, is what you do for the love.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Okay.
You're very welcome. So I'll send you the email.
Thank you, Peggy.
You're very welcome. I've just sent you the email for Dynamo, which is the citizens movement. It's a generic email, but we all receive it and we will reply. I'll send you also the email of Kipa, the generic email of Kipa, as well as my own Kipa email. I am the Secretary General of Kipa, so I'm looking after all the programs that we run, as well as the wind farms situation. So please feel free. If you have any queries, any ideas, any wish to participate, any wish to donate, just send us a message. We are there for you, and hopefully you are there for us.
Thank you, Peggy.
I have a quick question for Peggy.
Yeah.
Peggy, you made reference to, I think it was, I didn't catch the whole thing, 7 islands, was it, that were endangered? Or did I misunderstand that?
So yes, it's called the 7 most endangered cultural sites of Europe. We as Kythera were part of a block of 5 Aegean islands, and as a block we entered the 7 most endangered sites. So we were 1 out of the 7 but as one was the block entity of the 5 islands where we were part of. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Ba-
Thank you.
Basically, you're welcome. Basically, because the issue is so serious, is so important, and all the islands of Greece are in danger, they had to pick 5 quintessential gems of Greece and put them all in one block. If they could do 100, they could have done 100, but I guess there was a limit of how many islands they could put under one group, one solid group. So they did that, and they entered our nomination as a block of islands in the 7 endangered sites of Europe. And we were accepted, and then we won as well, because initially they were 14, then from 14 they eliminated 7. That was the second phase, there were 7, and at the very end we were part of the 7, which I know it's not like a beauty contest when you say, oh, we're so proud of my trophy, but it does show that Europe understands that we have to be saved. We have to be rescued. We can't afford, Europe doesn't afford to lose us, basically. That's what it shows.
Thank you again, Peggy. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. I'm going to share my screen just for a minute and do a few introductions. Okay. All right. Are you able to see my screen?
No.
No?
Yes, we can see it.
Oh, now we can. Uh-huh.
Okay. So I just want to, let me hit play here. Okay, so I just want to show our board members. We are a small group. We have several new people here today that haven't attended our previous Zoom. So I just thought I would share this slide that shows our board members. Not everybody is here today. We have Megan and Cynthia and Nick. Gosh, wait a minute. Sam, let's see. I am not looking at the screen now, so I can't see everybody. Anybody else besides you 3 that are board members that are here? I think that's it. I think Kathy may be joining us later. So we are a small group, but we try to do as much as we can for the island. Okay, let's see. Let Tony in. Okay, so this is actually our 6th global. Okay. Of the people who registered, and now that is changed because there's several people who didn't register, I just wanted to show you, what it looked like. So at the time we had 34 from Australia, and you can see where everybody was from. We had 29 from USA, 6 from Greece, 3 from the UK and Ireland, Canada. So we have quite a large group, and we're pretty excited about that, actually. We've had, one of the reasons I ask people to register is so that I can keep track of how many people come, because we have a license for up to 100 people. And there have been times when we've had more than 100 people. And I'm happy to go ahead and pay for the extra to accommodate more. But if we don't need to, I don't do that. Also, we kind of just like to keep track of who's coming and who's not. So we know that we know who's come, we know who is joining us. So I wanted to point out our website. If you go to our website, where you're going to see the latest news is under the blog. And recently we had somebody pass away, but the global Zooms are under here. I started a new page the other day that just has our global Zoom. So if you're interested in going back and seeing photographs or video from our previous ones, the first 2 were uploaded to YouTube, but we didn't do that with the rest, but we do have pictures there. So just wanted to share that. And let's see. If you didn't register already and you're here and you want to, you could still go to the link and register, so that way you get your name on the list. And one of the other advantages of registering is lots of times people want to contact each other after the Zoom is over, and you have the opportunity to either say yes or no that you want to opt in to do that. And I also have people write in where their families are from on the island and what their family surnames are so that they can connect with them, since many people are doing genealogy and they like to connect with other people. So, okay, in addition to our board members, we also have the president of the Baltimore Kytherian Association here. Diane, you want to just unmute and say hello for a second so they can see who you are?
Yeah, here I am. I don't know if you can see me.
Everybody? Okay.
Hi.
And go ahead.
We
Hi.
haven't done much with the pandemic and all. Hi, George is waving. Hi there. Hi, everybody from Baltimore. Thank you for being here, and everybody around the world. I enjoy these conferences and these Zoom meetings, and I really appreciate Vikki getting it together and everybody else that's involved. I'm sure there's more than just Vikki. I assume there's more than just Vikki. Thank you, everyone. And we really don't have any news to report, but we're still here.
Well, we're glad you're here, and thanks to all the other Baltimore people that have come. And it's just great that we've finally gotten to know you guys. Victor Kytheriodis is here. He's the past president of the Kytherian Association of Australia. Victor, I see you. You want to shout out over there so everybody can hear you?
Yeah. Hi, hi everybody from down under. We the 37. Did you put up 37? That was today's participants from
There's even
from
more.
Australia.
Yep, even more have come.
Okay.
And
Seems to be the biggest block of thing. So all of us got up very early, 6 a.m. to get on. It's such a worthwhile piece of communication that you haven't struggled with, you've mastered now over those last few things, and we really appreciate the effort that you put in to getting us together and informing us. It was such a good presentation, excellent presentation from Peggy about where we're up to with the wind farms, and that is so important, such an important topic that even though some of us want to help, we don't know how, and we need to be kept up to date to find out, how urgent these things are, and and where it affects us. Some of us that have property or houses on Kythera or go to visit relatives, we could be right next door to these Eiffel Towers, and we need to fight against that. Thank you.
for sure. Okay, also we have Elias Marcellus, who is the director of the Kytherian Institute. Let's see, Elias, where are you?
I'm here.
There you are.
You
Say
cannot
hello.
see me?
We can see you. We can see you. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, okay. Hello to everybody. Yes, thank you for the Zoom of today. You in Kytherian Society, thank you. Thank you, Vikki, and our compatriots of California. Good evening to the global Zoom panel. I'm glad to see you once again and to hear your discussions and ideas about the Kytherians all over the world and also about the island. And this coming Tuesday, I'm going to Kythera in order to find out how is the situation about the organizing the events of the summer, this coming summer. And of course, depending on the COVID, I believe that before the end of the month, we will have an idea of the possibility to organize the events on Kythera, I mean. I hope and I wish everything will run on the right way. Anyway, also the Institute is going, we have the preparation of the International Symposium in Sydney of Australia in order to participate to the centennial events, I mean, during November, in the framework of the Kytherian Association Centennial Celebration over there, as well as the Institute's initiatives during our stay in Sydney. And also I'm thinking about the Sydney Research Center, which the Institute of Kythera is going to create. Among them, the new, the Global Committee of Kythera. We are preparing for this idea of the Global Committee of Kythera and its initiatives about that. Probably at the end of the month, I have new things to announce about the new, projects which we are preparing for that. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ian.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. I saw Anna Cominos in here. I don't know if she's, Anna, are you still?
Yeah,
There you are. I just wanted to,
yeah.
are you there with Sia or are you by yourself?
I'm just by myself.
Okay.
And Sia sends her apologies.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so this is
Wait.
Anna Cominos, and she and Tzortzopoulos are the editors of this wonderful Kythera Summer Edition that if you go to Kythera, you will pick up these wonderful copies in the summer. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Vikki. What we're doing is we've been off the road. We've been off the streets for a couple of years due to financial concerns, but we're coming back this year with a 12-pager that is going to focus on why the island is sacred, picking up from what Peggy's talking about, what makes it, that deep silence the island has, so everyone can put in. If you've got an idea, this is the place to talk to us. And, you know, so the paper will be out this year. It'll be a very thin paper. It'll be very focused. It's the reason we're doing it. We were fortunate to be there 25 years ago to experience the island in that silence and not have it. And so we feel like that's what's happening at the moment. Currently we're in pre-production. So we're in collating the articles and laying them out. And so you'll see us in summer, but it would be great if people like Peggy and Dean really fed into the newspaper this year. Yeah,
Well,
so
guys
that's the
did a
story.
great job. We're looking forward to seeing that. And I just
Thanks.
wanna mention, on our website, there's also a link to past issues. So I think I have them from
Okay.
2008 on. So if anybody wants to
Great.
see those, they're on the
Thank
website
you.
as well.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, any questions for Anna before we move on? Okay, all right.
Just I just wanted to say with regards to Peggy's talks about the turbines, I was discussing it today with the committee. Sorry, not committee, the Parea of Kythera that I'm with. It's just to make you aware that your impact is required. A lot of the time you get a lot of questions for the wind turbines on these global Zooms, and the response has been that you should get in touch with the people like Peggy, like Dynamo, like Kiki and Yorgos Orfanos, to get involved. The diaspora and the foreign influence of Kythera has a very big impact on the direction with which the implementation of turbines goes. So just for you to be involved, and we'll they really do need this summer to be the tipping point or the turning point for any direction that the resolution comes to. And your for lack of a better word, investment is going to tell the story as to whether or not we succeed with squashing this effort. So yeah.
Okay, and unfortunately, Helen was not able to make it today. Helen Tzortzopoulos, she had been in London and she's on her way back to Kythera right now. And there were problems with the boats, and it turns out she is actually on her way right now. So she's not able to attend, but she sent me an email, and Dean also has a copy of it, and I'm going to have him go ahead and read what she wanted to say today.
Okay. Oh, okay, hold on, sorry. So as you know, Helen is the president of Philos Museo Kytherian, the Friends of the Museums of Kythera. I'm a committee member, more on the IT and digital media side of things, but I'm happy to speak on her behalf in regards to the progress we've made with the Migration Museum that's set for development in a year per year. I'm just going to read it verbatim. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to practice, but it's only very short, so just bear with me. So I'll just go ahead. Unfortunately, I won't be able to join the global Zoom scheduled for this evening, Greek time, as I am in transit for Kythera. However, I have very good news to report. On Thursday, the Friends of the Museums of Kythera signed the contract with the architect Stefanos Tavlaridis and his team, who were chosen pursuant to an open competition that we held last year for submission of a concept of a design for the museum. As you are probably aware, we have undertaken the cost of the architect's plans through to the issue of the building license. This completed file with all the necessary engineering plans conforming to EU museum specifications will then be handed to the Mayor, Mr. Harkalakis, to procure funds through the EU or Prefecture of Attiki. We can now finally officially launch our museum campaign. I see from your email, Vikki, that a number of people have raised some questions in relation to the museum and the data required. I would like to suggest that if participants in today's Global Zoom are interested, we could, after our Easter celebrations, have another Zoom meeting specifically to show the plans of the museum building and all the associated facilities that have been incorporated. We could also arrange to have the architect on hand to answer any questions that may arise. We are still waiting on the Academy of Athens to sign the memorandum in relation to the museology study, which, though agreed, has been pending for some time now. Once this has been done, we can officially call on everyone to submit their family stories, photos, documentation, etc., to our email addresses being set up specifically for this purpose. The academic who will be supervising all the research and collating the data will be only too happy to take part in the presentation of our Migration Museum project. I think that a specific Zoom meeting is probably the best way of going forward with this project of ours, where the team will be able to answer questions, hear opinions, and share ideas. Bear in mind that our Migration Museum is the first of its kind in Greece, which makes it a particularly ambitious undertaking for the Philos Museo Kytherian, and we trust that everyone with some Kytherian affiliation will find the need to become a part of this venture. All the best, Helen.
Okay, so after Easter sometime, I will set up another Zoom. If you're here and I have your email address, I will make sure you get notified of this, and we'll probably put it on Facebook too. So she'll give us the whole lowdown. It's pretty exciting to see this whole thing finally coming about.
Can I have a question?
I wish I could divulge some secrets, but I'm unable to, unfortunately. So,
Victor.
Vikki?
Yeah.
Can I ask Dean, those plans you talked about, are they the plans that we saw in Kythera just a few weeks ago?
Yes, those were the ones that you were privy to, and that I believe members of our museum have been privy to. we're currently in the process of upscaling them because at the current point in time, they are a little cartoonish. So we don't feel confident enough that you'll be happy with what we present to you. So that's the reason that we're delaying the presentation. And it's basically where we need to come to a point where we can agree with both the museologist, the architect, and the DMRP as to the direction of the museum, whether it becomes a purpose-built museum or a purpose-built all-purpose venue. So yeah, that's about all I can tell you, unfortunately.
Well, I can assure everybody who's listening today that those plans that I saw indicate quite a bit of thought has been put into this. Myself, as a traveller and someone who wants to go into that migration museum, it was very well laid out, given for the given space that was there. And whatever you guys come up with, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
All right. Okay. Let's go on to Amalia Samios. And we are in good timing here because I see Martina joined us now too. So we've got Martina Zervos and Amalia. And if you don't know the two of them, they are dynamite. And the whole Kytherian community is indebted to them. It makes me want to cry because Amalia and I go back and forth just about every day.
Every day.
About every day.
Every day.
Marrying this one. And why do I have this person married to two people with the same name? I mean, they actually were married to, this woman was married to this two men with the same name. I thought, oh my God, really? Okay, but anyway, so I'm gonna turn it over to Amalia. She's gonna share her screen and she's gonna tell us about her website and all the wonderful work that.
If I can work that out. Okay, firstly, thanks, Vikki, for this. I think most of you, I've interacted with most of the people that are on here so far. A lot of people have sent me details and questions. Just clarify, it's actually Martina's sister, Kalie, that I do this with. And she
I said Martina because her name is on it.
Yes,
so
I don't think Kalie's there. Is she there, Martina?
I am here, but I come over so we could do this together. I only live across the street from my sister, so.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning.
I know
okay, so I don't want to be talking for hours, and those people that know me know that I can do that, and Kalie can as well. Don't get me wrong. Let me just work out how I want to. Hang on a second. I want to share my screen. Okay. Can you all see my Google there?
Yes.
Okay, so look, Vikki has sent through questions. A lot of people have asked questions. I'm just going to go through and explain my website, and that should answer 90% of the questions. So firstly, my website is www.kytheriangenealogy.com. And there it is here. I'll just see if I can make that bigger.
Wow.
Okay. Oops, whoops, 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 whoops. Oh, hang on, let me close my Facebook. You don't want to see my Facebook. Okay, so here's our site. It should answer, just reading on the site should answer most of the questions anyway, but here's a brief introduction of how we started. Kalie, I think we should describe that. So back in 1996, Kalie, describe your story.
Well, back in 1996, I was in Kythera. From a little girl, I was always interested in genealogy. And when I was there in 1996, I decided to go and interview and find out from the older generation that was still alive at that point, where I fitted in and how my grandmother was related to these people. And so I went to the old people's home, and there was an uncle Cosmas Megalokonomos, who was our grandmother's first cousin. And he basically started me going backwards from what I already knew. So he took me back about 3 generations. So he was able to remember his grandfather and his grandmother and his great-grandmother as well. So it started from there. And then from there, what I did is I went to the archives because I was told the archives were there. I visited and Mrs. Harros was there and she actually helped me and she showed me the books and she showed me, and we sat down there for hours trying to figure out where we fitted in. At the time there was another distant cousin of ours there called Tasia, and with her, Tasia Malos, and with her, we basically, whoever was on the island that summer, we tried to go and say, have you got megaloconomous blood? Are you doing this? You know, so we were kind of trying to build our family tree going down ways, but moving up was always what I really wanted to get into. And I guess that when Amalia came along, that's when our passion for moving back in time really took off. Yeah.
So I started my genealogy research in 2009. I was a sucker for the stupid ancestry ads, and I've got an English grandmother, so I thought I'd trace her because she'd be easier. But so I did her research for probably about 2 years, all my Cornwall family. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to move on to the Kytherians. It's probably going to be hard, so I'll move on to the Kytherians. Then I had sort of known years ago that Kalie had done the megaloconormal side because we're connected. So then I approached her, I think it was about 2011, and we thought we worked out how to go backward between us. We looked for the sources, we looked at what was around, we worked out how to trace it backwards, but there were so many Andoni megaloconormals that we were getting confused. So it was very early in the piece, we decided that we're going to have to probably map out the whole village of Potamort before we could work out which Andoni megaloconormal and how we fit in with him. So that's really where it started. We started with Potamort, then we moved to Panerechanica, then we moved to Trifilianica. Next thing you know, we're covering the whole island.
Kusunari.
Yeah, we did it all, and then we just sort of kept branching out. But we discovered between us, we both really had a passion for this. I mean, this was over 10 years ago, and we're still going. I devote probably 60 hours a week to this. I'm tragic. You know, every moment I'm home, I'm reading documents, I'm researching, I'm on the internet. So yeah,
for me, Amalia, you know how tragic I am that I've undertaken a degree in research because I really wanted to make sure that our research was of quality.
And I know it sounds funny, but Kalie and I work well together. Like, whatever I don't know, Kalie does. Whatever Kalie doesn't know, I do. I mean, we seem to really work well together. Okay, so look, that's our About Us page. If you want to send us any emails, details are right at the bottom of that first page. So we also decided that we got this knowledge, we've got this passion, why not help people? So a lot of you out there, I know a few of you out there have done your family trees for you, but we can help you do your own research. Just contact us, we'll put you in the right direction of where to find documents or what documents you need to go and look for. But we can also compile your family tree for you. These family trees, depends on when they start, can go back 11 generations maybe.
Wow.
We can go back to 1600s. My family tree, actually, I know it sounds funny, but my family tree is the oldest we found so far. I have a Vlandis in the 1721 census. He was 99 years old at the time, and I know his father's name. So, his father would have been born very late 1500s probably. So, this is just, there's a lot out there. Look, some family trees, we do have 200 people on them, some have 2,000. So it just depends on what your family is. So if you want your tree done, we can do that for a fee, but you just send us an inquiry. Every tree is different because there's so many different people in there and so much different information to be found. So
can I just get in there, Amalia, and just be also weary that a lot of the times we come to dead ends because don't forget the Kytherians actually migrated from Kythera in the early 1800s and they were leaving to go to Asia Minor, Egypt, etc. Yeah. So if generations are born out of Kythera and then come back after 1822 when the catastrophe, 1922 when the catastrophe happened, there's no way of us knowing what those gaps are. We could probably take you back to that, but not to the people who were born outside.
Yeah. Also, Kalie, don't forget, we've got those refugees that came into Kythera, names like Theodora Kakis, Alifieris, Colintianos. They're actually not local to Kythera. They came in as refugees in the 1780s. So some of those trees only go back to the 1780s, but that really only affects families in the Potamort district. Okay, so then there's some brief information about our project. I sort of touched on that. Kalie and I are trying to get as much detail for every single person we can find on Kythera. We're trying to be as knowledgeable as we can about each and every person. We think there's about 65, 70,000 people we could find records for. And there are literally hundreds of thousands of pieces of information out there, literally. We have a bit of a shop, which has just got some puzzles and games in it. Okay, so this morning, Kalie hasn't seen this yet. We've introduced our blog. I've just put this online. Hopefully every couple of weeks, every month, whenever we find information, we're going to put a bit of a blog up. We're going to have articles about people, about family history research, that kind of thing. As you can see here, like I've got this, you know, you'll hear stories about people coming to Australia when they're, you know, my father was 12 when he came to Australia. Well, this is the face of somebody on his travel documents when he came to Australia. So I think that really puts it in perspective that that's a kid who came to Australia on his own. You know, I think that's, I don't know, I just love that photo. Now also here, we've got a couple of things. I'll go to resources. So this is also brand new this morning. Well, not the whole resources, some of them. So some of you may have seen the tombstones. Kalie and I have been going to cemeteries. We've got nothing to do. We just pop into a cemetery. But we're taking photos of the tombstones. And as you can see, this is the biggest cemetery in Sydney. That's almost finished. But you can look, here's Jim Miller and my husband's family somehow. But anyway, look, you just, so much information can be found on a tombstone. You know, the actual death, this guy born in Carava, got his birth date, which is always different to what you find in the certificate every single time. And their death date, it's got his wife, so you can sort of pick, it helps you if you haven't got the marriage certificate to find who wives can be, because now we know, you know, more about her. Some wonderful information can be found on tombstones. So we're putting as many photos as we can. Yeah, I'm even going for drives to country towns just to go to cemeteries. It's pretty fun. I've also got a couple of Kytherian ones. Unfortunately, with COVID, we haven't been able to get there at the moment. It's only Kalakeri Nest, but hopefully this year I might be going to Kythera, but I'm not confirmed yet. So we might get more then. Actually, I'll click on the actual resources again. And then last week, Kalie and I went to the War Memorial. So while we were there, we took a photo of the people that were killed in action fighting for Australia. So they're, you know, they need to be remembered. People, you know, people don't know these people. One died from illness in a prisoner of war camp. So interesting information there. That's the other thing. The other day, we had to go to work for, we had to go to Wagga for work, my husband and I. So I dragged him through the Gundagai Cemetery and the Wagga Cemetery. He was very impressed. Okay, so this is brand new. This is what I've just put online. So this is brand new this morning. These are photos that I have found on documents in Australia. So most of these are war documents, like this man. This is the photo they took when he signed up for war. And most of them, like these people, are documents when they came into the country. Again, there's references here down the bottom, so you can look them up on the National Archives website, look at the actual documents if you want. But this, you know, just shows you that the types of people that came to Australia, you know, children, older people. Where's my favorite? Oh, this is, I've got to show this, Kalie. That's Kalie's grandfather.
Wow.
She was born. Yeah, so we found him online. Look, there's just there's some, you know, wonderful. Look, older people. Yeah, you hear stories of 12-year-olds coming to Australia, but you have 50-year-olds that come as well. I think they seem to get a bit more ignored.
Amalia, I noticed that right at the very top is Aroni, Constantine Aroni, who was the jeweler Anzac. Yeah.
Yeah, where is? I'll find him.
Right at the very top.
That's the one. Yeah, he was a jeweler Anzac. He fought in both wars. Yes. He's the only one.
And he had a very sad ending. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, he actually died. He was living in a boarding house in Victoria in Melbourne, and he had a sad ending. Yeah.
Have you found his grave location yet? No.
No, we have to go to Melbourne, Amalia.
Well, I'm in for that. Okay, and then now a great thing about Australian cemeteries and grave sites is they put photos of the person on the actual grave. So I've taken, look, some of them are terrible quality, but that's all that exists. You know, in 10 years' time, it'll be even worse quality. So I'm trying to capture these people. There's my husband's auntie. Trying to capture these people so they can be remembered. You know, this guy, his photo's all breaking up and cracking. But you know, it's history that's there to be seen, and it's disappearing. So we're trying to save all this as well. You know, some of the photos are great. Look at that one. Great photo. But again, there's a lot of people there. You know, your great grandfathers might be here that you didn't know, or you know, I've tried to enhance them as best as I can.
Amalia, can you stop there?
Yep.
Go down one. Down. No, the wrong way. The other way.
Go up.
Yeah, you're looking for your father.
Stop. The second from the left, second row.
Yeah, that's your father.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
That's the photo he's got on his tombstone on his grave.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you seen his grave?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I've got it online here too. If you go into the Australian tombstones and you go,
He was making a speech at that time.
And if you go down to Kypriotis, this will show this example of how I find these photos. So Kypriotis.
And Amalia, don't forget that at the very top we've made a comment that we've done this as per the Greek spelling.
Yes, that's right. So if you're tracing your family tree, and like for instance,
Like
Kalie couldn't find her grandmother.
with the C here in Australia.
Yeah,
it'll be K with a K.
So I've seen down the bottom here, I've put the Greek spellings just to keep things standard. So if you're looking for somebody in Greece, you know, you don't have to change their name when you're looking on our website for things. But there you go, Victor, there's your father, there's your mother.
Yeah. We're apologies, there are not enough flowers.
Look, Victor, at least it's
We're
marked.
not judging, Victor, we're not judging.
But look, it does break our hearts. Hang on, see if I can find one.
Yeah.
You go to these cemeteries and it's just an empty plot of land.
Yeah.
You know, that person had nobody that loved them enough or knew them enough or cared enough to even put a plaque. And I just find that very, very sad. So these people are no less important to the Australian Kytherian history in Australia, but you know, they're not remembered. So hopefully we can try to remember these people. And what else have we got in our resources? So that's it for now there. Now, most of the questions that I have received, or Kalie and I have received, have been for how to do your own family tree and where the information is and what information we use and where we have found our information. And it's all here on our links page. So if you're doing your own family tree, I'll sort of talk you through doing your own tree. It does seem imposing when you start, but once you know what you're doing, it's actually not as bad as it looks. I mean, yes, very, very time consuming. Once you start, your life is over because you'll do nothing but this. But I'll just show you the links and what to do. So look, firstly, you can go to Kythera Family Net. Love this website. But bear in mind, all the stories and stuff you'll find on here are family stories. Most of them do not have any documentation behind them. So bear in mind the stories could be incorrect, but you know, if this is all that's been passed down to history, that's all we've got, we still have to remember them. So for instance, my great grandmother was part of the big axe murder in Kytherian in 1909, August 1909. She was the last victim to die. She was the only one that didn't die instantly. The poor thing, I think, died of lack of water. This family story was that she would drink, the water would come out the stabbing wound in her chest. So the story on the internet here is he killed 15 people and then he killed 2 others and blah, blah, blah. But when you look at the documentation, there's 5 death certificates all in a row. And my family story, my papa's sister did say there were only 5 people killed and she named them. And they were the exact same names as the 5 people I found on the death certificate. So bear in mind, stories on here could be incorrect, but oh God, you've got to read it. It's a fantastic website.
Hey, Amalia, for those who don't know the story, could you tell a
Okay.
little more?
I do have a passion for this. Stop me if I'm raving, but back in 1909, there was a man called Laguanari who was a Roni, and yes, my mother's an Roni, and she married a Vlandis, but they're not related. So Laguanari was a shoemaker, and he was well respected apparently. And some woman came to order some shoes, but she didn't want to pay for them. So when it was time to pick them up, she went to pick them up, And then she walked in, and then the husband just happened to walk in and accuse Lagunari of doing unsuitable things to his wife. And she walked, I'm not paying for the shoes, and they stormed out. So then he had a bad reputation. So he couldn't get work in Kythera again. So he went to Piraeus to look for work, and he worked for a Kytherian there, and he was very good apparently. And the other apprentices were jealous of him. So one of them planted a tool in his bag, and the boss found it. And the wife's going, no, he's got such a bad reputation. You got to sack him, you got to sack him. So they sacked him, and he had a drug problem. So he was either on opium or hashish, or, you know, the saying, you're as mad as a hatter. That's because they used to suck on the leather when they were making the hats. The same thing would happen with the shoemakers. They would suck the leather to make the shoes and it would send them mad. So he was either mad or under the influence of drugs, went back to Kythera, wanted revenge on his boss. So one day he was walking to Pitsinyanika, and where the boss was from. And he asked two people on the way, you know, how to get to Pitsinyanika? And he said, oh, you can't miss it. It's the one with the big church tower. Well, he missed it and he kept going.
No, and, there is an extra bit because it was very, very foggy that day.
That gets to when she gets to Kytherian. Yeah. So he misses the Pitsinyanika turn off. He gets to Kytherian, and he walks. Now Kytherian is called Kytherian, meaning summer place, because it's always covered in fog. I mean, I've been there in summer and you can't see outside, it's foggy. So in winter, it must be terrible. But apparently that's why he settled there, because it was covered by fog and the pirates couldn't see the village. So anyway, so it was a very foggy day this day. And he walked up to the church, and now we're not sure whether he rang the church bell or the papa was ringing the church bell ready for the christening that day. But as the church bell was being rung, people came out ready for the service as they do, and he would stab them. He stabbed 15 people. He killed 4 instantly. One, my great-grandmother died 4 days later in the room upstairs, and her ghost has been seen there a couple of times, but it's another story. And then the papa heard what was going on, and he called to his little helper, quick, get my gun. He said, no, papa, you can't get anybody. So the priest ran to get the gun. I picture him hoiking up his robes, running to his donkey, gets his gun, shoots Lagunari in the arm. Lagunari drops his knife and runs off. So he did leave 15 people dead or injured. Doctors wouldn't come to the island because they were worried it was a pirate attack. And apparently at the time there was some major running race on the island. A lot of the males weren't in the island at the time, in the village at the time. So there was no help up. So yeah, Lagunari's walking off. He meets 2 other people. He tries to stab them, but he had no strength. He had another knife. And then he walks off. He's later found in his house with blood all over him. And the story is he'd killed his mother, which he hadn't. There's no record of that. And then he got caught and he got taken to Nafplion for jail. And he was, at that point, he was the worst mass murderer in all of Greece. And they thought, we're not going to give him the death sentence because he's such a good murderer. He might make a great executioner instead. So while he was in jail, he killed somebody with a fry pan. But another part of the punishment was that he, in Kythera, part of the military service, always 2 Kytherians were jailers at Nafplion. So they thought this man will then have to answer to Kytherians for the rest of his life. And as it turned out, my husband's grandfather was one of those. So there you go. There's always a link with Kytherian.
Amalia, I know you have a photo of Lagunari. I know if you maybe find it and just show it to everybody.
Yeah, I've also got a photo of the papa too. Let me see if I can find him. I don't know how to be able to share it though. I'm only sharing. You can't see.
Oh, that's okay.
No, I don't know how to share. Oh, that's a shame. I want to share some stuff. Anyway, let's see what happens there. So that was, okay, can't open that. Okay, so that's the Kythera family, which is the Great Search. Now, when it comes time for serious documentation, you need to start with, you're looking for your parents' or your grandparents' birth, whoever, or marriage, whoever was born the most recently on Kythera, or married the most recently on Kythera. And the way to do that, you need to find the certificates, which are the same certificates you go to the VIMOR for now and you ask in the office, and sometimes if they're helpful, they'll give them to you, sometimes they don't. So this is family search. So family search is done by the Mormon Church, and the Mormon religion is, okay, I've got a photo of Lagunari here I can show you when the just came in. The Mormon Church, their religion is if you forget somebody, their spirit dies. So as long as you remember people, their spirit lives in wherever they think their afterlife is. So they have billions, and I'm not exaggerating, billions of documents from around the world. I don't know how long they've been doing this for. They're based in Salt Lake City, and they have in 1986 or 89, they went to Kythera and they scanned all the certificates, and they're now available online. So when
It
Kalie
was
and I-
1986, actually.
86, okay.
Yeah.
So when Kalie and I first started doing this, we thought, okay, we need all the documents. So I did this. Kalie was doing uni, so I took this job on, which is, I don't know if I regret it or not, but I went to, back in the day, you had to order them on microfilm and you had to pay for them, and it would take 2 weeks. They'd come to Australia, then you only had them for 2 weeks, and then they sent them back or you had to pay again. So I wasted way too many hours of my life in a little tiny library in the Mormon Church at Mortdale, and I scanned tens of thousands of these things.
Amalia, you never waste time. This is a well worth effort.
No, but you are Shirley in there. She thinks I was wasting my time. Anyway, that's another story. Oh yeah, I was a first name basis, and all these like they're 80-year-old volunteer Mormons that are doing this in these things, and look, they were fun. The ladies were lovely. One man, yeah, but the ladies were lovely. So yeah, anyway, I've got these. I don't know how. I've got them on my screen ready to show you, but I don't know how to share my screen.
That's okay. We can always do a bit of a blog about it, Amalia. I think it might.
Okay, yeah, but just to show
just to follow
the
up
first
on
one,
this talk.
That's a good idea, because the first ones I got, the microfilm reader was quite clear. So I got the deaths around Lagunari's time, because I thought, I've got to find my great grandmother's death. So I thought I'd concentrate with that microfilm first, and they were quite good. But then by the time we started to order them in bulk, and we were sending 5 or 6 microfilms at a time, that something happened to their microfilm reader, and it was terrible. The screen was almost black. So I then had to get each image and I had to enhance it, and I had to try to highlight it so I could read it. I will put up there somewhere how.
And just going back to those, some of them, as Amalia said, were in such a bad state. We did the very best we could with the writing. Now, some of the writing is, even though some of them are better and they're clearer, some of the writing is terrible. So we've done the very best we could with our ability of Greek that we have. I think our Greek, both of us, has improved immensely through reading all this.
I'll just put in perspective. I don't speak Greek. I don't read Greek. I don't.
But you had a good teacher.
She had a great teacher. Hang on, just let me. I'm just.
Okay, Amalia, let me tell you something. If you stop sharing, and then just go to sharing again. And
I'm about to. Sorry, I just got to set up my screen.
Yeah,
I got to set up my screen, and I've got the stuff on here that I want to show you first. Get this out of the way.
You can also just move it from one screen to the other, and it'll automatically show.
Okay. Hang on.
How do you do that? I didn't know that.
If she's using two screens.
If you're screaming,
I'm not. I'm just sharing the thing.
The one apple. If you share your desktop, then anything on your desktop will show.
Yep. So if I do that now, can you see my whole desktop?
Yep.
Yeah.
Go away. I don't know why that's there. I want that to go away. Okay. So here's my whole desktop. So here's some certificates. So these are the Kytherian deaths. So you can see how clear they are. These are the 5 murder victims. One was a 12-year-old boy, one was a 72-year-old woman. He was such a hero. Okay, so there's the deaths. So then if we go into the marriages, I think I got next, actually. I did. I got the marriages next. And they're not too bad either. I think you'll find there's something like, 6,000 certificates of these marriages, maybe less. And they're all pretty much that quality. So I was lucky there. But by the time I got to birth, this is what I started to deal with. So as you can see,
Amalia, make it full screen. Make the photo full screen. We can't see it.
Okay, hang on.
There we go. Perfect.
Right. So you can see that's actually been enhanced. So you can see this one's dated 1942. So we've got hang on, I've got to get rid of that. And then some of them these ones were even worse. The screen got really bad by then. This screen, by the time I was reading that, was almost black. So anyway, this is what Kalie and I have been dealing with for the last few years. And to put it into perspective,
so we try and read these you know, at home, and it's like
Front
phone
of
calls
TV,
backwards and forwards and
on an
Zooming,
airplane on the way to
what do you
Kythera.
think this is, and blah, 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 blah.
And then a few years after that, they stopped. Thank goodness I'd finished all the bursts by then, but then they stopped getting doing the microfilms because they were getting totally digital. And Kythera seemed to be one of the last ones they seemed to digitize. So it was about 12 months I couldn't get access to new certificates, but as I said, luckily we'd had most of the bursts by then. And now that they're digitized, this is how they look. Much clearer. You can get two on a screen. You know, you can zoom in. They're much better. So it was worth the wait for these to get digitized. So, and these are the. I just discovered just recently that I should be taking a photo of the whole screen. So that's the whole computer. I just took a photo off the screen rather than downloaded it. But so if you go into our links again, so here is our links. So if you go into family search, this is when you're starting your tree, this is where you need to start. So you want to go to, they also did the church registers. I'll be touching on that in a minute, back in 1986, I think. But these are the civil registrations of what you want. And you want 1844 to 1932. 1841 to 44 is on there in a different section, but this is where you'll need to start. So just say you're looking for the birth of your, now, we can only do privacy laws up to 1921, even though, as you can see here, they've got older than that, but I'm not allowed to publish that. So just say you're looking for a birth certificate, okay, just pick a year. Just say I'm looking for 1909, okay? And you click on this little icon here that's got the hang on one second, I have to sign in. Oh no, don't do that. Hang on, let me stop sharing. Let me log in. It logs you out this site every it logs you out every 2 weeks.
So Amalia, you need to set up a user profile.
Yeah, it's free. It's free. Oh, why is this not? Let's see if it's What's that mean?
Hello, Mum. How did she get on?
Things not working.
So while you're looking, can I ask a quick question? This is Daphne.
Yep.
How are you able to translate the documents?
Through reading them, through using dictionaries, through asking my mum, who you just saw.
Through Kalie teaching me where the important information. In my case, I know exactly where the name will be, where the child's name would be, all that kind of stuff. So I know where I'm looking.
There is a pro forma, Daphne. So basically what they do is there is a pro forma that they use and they just handwrite the information in between. Now, having said that, it's not always the case because a lot of the certificates that went back to Kythera are people who were living in Smyrna, in Alexandria, etc. And on those ones, there's a lot of extra information which we've had to try and decipher. And they cross out where you think the pro forma was filled out and whatever, and they're a mess. But we've done the very best we can with those ones, but they're not as many as the regular ones that a pro forma use. Having said that, as I said before, it's the handwriting can sometimes be hard. So there are a lot of question marks, but given other sources that we have kind of come across and try and cross-reference, because there is a crossover with some of the certificates to the church records. So 2 sets of resources are better than one, and that's where you will find, oh, that's what it says. It says Haralambos instead of, we could have make it out, but then because the church record is clearer, we've been able, and the dates are the same, etc., the names are the same, we've been able to marry the two together. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case all the time because sometimes there's no crossover between the church records and the certificates.
Okay, so sorry, I've got this to work. So when you click on the, I'll start that again. Go away. Okay, so when you click on the civil registrations, you're looking for a birth about 1909, so you click on that microfilm. So these are laid out the same as the microfilms that I was receiving at my local family history centre. So what happens is if you're in a family history centre, these will be the actual images. It will be certificate number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, working its way along. You can't look at them at home, but there's I don't know how many hundred family history centres around the world or Mormon churches around the world. So if you go into any one of those, you can access any of these information. Last time I was in Malta, I've got to tell you a funny story. There were 4 people in this room. They're only small. There's only about 6 computers in it. And there were 4 computers in there. And I sat down in one and a lady said, you know what you're doing? Yeah, yes, I've done this before. And she said, what year are you after? So I'm actually doing a whole island. Oh, I'll leave you to that. And she said, where's your island? I said, in Greece. And she said, oh, isn't that funny? This lady down the end is also doing an island in Greece. Oh, and I said to this woman, what are you searching for? She said, Anti-Kythera. Out of 4 people, 2 of us were looking at the same documents. You couldn't do that if you tried. I mean, they had the whole world to choose from. So look, so then when you're here, so we know this microfilm started 1908. So you're looking for somebody 1909. You know, my suggestion, you scroll down, you click on one, it'll bring up the information. And then you just need to scroll through one at a time until you find the person you're after. It's slow, it's laborious. That's what Kalie and I do. But it's not impossible. I think there's something like 25,000 birth certificates online. I know it sounds imposing, but if you know your person's born, 1908, you've narrowed it down to about 200. So it sounds big, but if you know where you're going, you know where you're looking. If you keep scrolling through, you can find them. This lady that was doing Anti-Kythera, I actually said, do you want some help, blah, blah, blah. She had already done it all. And she was looking for and she was Sue MacLeod, didn't even know she had Greek blood in her until her great-grandfather, I think it was came from Anti-Kythera. So, and she had done it all. She doesn't speak Greek either. And she found all the Anti-Kythera ones. So it can be done. It's not that hard. It does sound imposing, but it's not that hard. So again, you got to find all the siblings for your grandparents or great-grandparents, whoever you're after, find all the children. And then you can go back, if you hit the back button, and you can then go to the microfilm that's got the marriages. So that family's probably married 1901. Then you would check on that. And then you, again, same thing. So, the first child was born about 1900. So the marriage is about 1898. Go find the marriages from 1898 and then keep scrolling through till you find them. What I should say, actually, just let me minimize this. Some of the information on these certificates, see if I can find a clear one. That one might be dated. Okay, this is within 800 years, so I can show you this one. So all the certificates are laid out the same. Date of the christening up here. Actually, make that big screen. Date of the christening will be found here. The church name is found there. The village is found after that. Then you've got the father's name, his father's name, the occupation. What is that one, Kalie? Born on this island or something, wasn't it? Genealogy. Kalie, you there?
Yeah, sorry, I have to put my glasses on.
Oh,
I've left them at home.
Genealogy is Tunisian. Is that what it says?
Right on. Oh, on this island.
On this island, and he's working in Katsulyanika. It's a male child. I'll tell you male or female there. They're both male. This one, the mother's name is Agalia, and she's the daughter of Haralambos.
Aglaia,
isn't that what I said? Daughter of Haralambos Vassiliou, and she was 28 years old. Her age is there. The child was born the 11th of September, 1921 at 5 a.m. in the morning in Katsulyanika, and the child's name is Anastasios. So I don't speak Greek, but I know exactly where on this certificate the detail would be. So
I mean, as you can see, there are extra details. Like if you want to go further and look at, who the godmother was, it says Eleni Katsuli there, etc. But we don't actually go into those details. We're just concerned with the immediate family.
Yeah. It also tells you down the bottom here, which is cut off on this one, which priest did it, and if the witnesses were literate or not.
Now, there is an issue when you come to the certificates, a lot of them say illiterate.
Yes.
However, that's not really the case. So just to let you know, what we believe used to happen is that the church registers were filled out by the church. The actual church registers were signed by the father and sometimes the mother. These certificates were then filled out, we believe, maybe once a week, once a month, whatever. They used to go to Hora, the press used to go and then fill them out in bulk.
Officially.
And a lot of the times the officials there, the press would say, or he would, or the person there would just assume that everyone was illiterate.
So
now, I know for a fact from my great-grandmother's and my great-grandfather's wedding certificate, it says that my great-grandmother was illiterate, yet I have her reading glasses, and Mum remembers as a child, she was taught how to read by her grandmother.
Yeah. So again, we can only just go with what the documents tell us, but it's not necessarily true either. Now, here's a marriage certificate. I'll go through that, but see, this one says a grammatas. So these the NIFI and the witnesses couldn't sign on that one. So this is the layout of a marriage certificate. So this was the date, 8th of January, 1889, in Kythera in Kyperi Church. I don't know what that is.
Kyperi is
no, sorry, no, this writing here, Kalie. I don't know what that says. I don't think it's important. I've never used it. This is the second marriage of Panayotis Samios of Ioannis. He was 35. He was from Alozyanika. The wife was Maria Notaros. It's her first marriage of Fotinos Notaros. She was 25.
25, yes.
And the marriage was on the 8th of that month. So all the information is there. Just because I can't read these printed stuff doesn't mean I don't know what information's on here. So
yeah, but I can read the printed stuff.
Kallie's told me what I'm looking for where.
Yeah, so basically what I did to Amalia, we took a pro forma of each of them, and I basically wrote it all in English, and I told her, like, this is where you look for this, this is where you look for that.
This is why we work so well together, Kalie.
Yeah.
So you then chase all your family. So in this case, if you find somebody 1909, his parents are probably born 30 years earlier, so about 1880. So you get an age on these certificates, so you've got a rough idea, and believe me, that age is just a suggestion of what his age could be. So you've got a rough idea then of when the father's born, when the mother's born. You then go and chase the next generations back, and you do the same thing. You look at these certificates. You're looking for this time. You'll be looking for this. Probably 1889. You'll be looking at that certificate. Same thing. You click on there. You go through and you scroll through till you find the person that you want. Once you've done that, and that will take you a long time. The other information that's online, which is fantastic, absolutely wonderful, GAC, Greek Digital Archives. This is a pain to look through. It took us a while to work out how to actually get to the information. Remember that, Kalie?
Yeah. But we have our system, and
we have our system. So we've got the some notary papers which they were starting to upload. Apparently, I don't know. I think they've all been scanned, but they're not
uploaded. I keep on checking, Amalia.
Yeah, me too. We think GAC's run out of funding, and nothing's been uploaded at all in Greece, which is very sad, very sad. But the second one down is the one we care about, and this is the church registers. So every time a child was christened or somebody was married or died, it was entered into the church register. So I have to explain this. If you're interested in this, write this down. So you click on the middle one, and then up the top here, you've got these tabs. You want to go into the contents. And then this is telling you the district. So just say we're looking for somebody, pick a village, somebody.
Melopotamo.
Oh, okay. Just click Livadi. So this is telling you what's in this Livadi folder, all the different churches that are there. And if you've done this, so from these certificates, it will tell you what church your person that you're looking for was, their child was born. Good chance the next 55 generations back are in the same church. So, so just say, so then you go to contents again, and then you find the church that you're after. So just say we know he's from Kavunavas. Oh, no, I do. Yes, Elias.
Actually, do I Yosilias? I think that's a really good one to let you know.
No, it's not very big. It's not very big.
Yes, but see that I just want to use that as an example to let you know. See, this is where we come into problems. because people from this village, these records are no longer in existence. There are, yeah,
No,
I guess Elias records are, there's not much of it, and there are missing. Yeah, it's really bad. So when I went up to the castle, and you know this too, Amalia, I have been shown a series of books which are stuck together and are black. And I have been told by the ladies up there that they believe that these books, they can't even tell which church registers they are, that they're in a poor state because they were tried to be saved during the war by an individual and he put them down a well.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see here, this one, Eos
yeah.
Nikolaou, see how this is not yellow like the others? That means there's nothing there. The folders are empty. Look, I'll just pick a random folder now. So Fratzia, Eos Panton Fratzia. And then you click on the contents. And then this is telling you this. So in this church, there are 4 existing books. So now you want to know that the years you're looking for, and you just click on, you do the most recent one. And then you click on reproductions. So you've got to click about 65 different buttons before you get to what you're after. But when you click on reproductions, there you go. And you've got to wait. It takes a couple of seconds to load each page. And then once it's loaded, you can view it or you can download it yourself, so you've got it forever. And yes, I have been through, and yes, there's 14,000 of them, and yes, I have read them.
We've done every single one of them.
Every single one of them. So these are handwritten. Oops.
Amalia, that was fun, trying to teach ourselves how to read all of this in the very beginning, wasn't it?
What we did, we concentrated. So we've got, there's 2 types. There's different ways these things are spaced out, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this is just showing you, how to find these. It's annoying, this site, but it's fantastic. The information is fantastic. So I'll just go back to, I've got some examples here to show you. If I can just get my thing minimized again. So church registers. So these are some examples of what we're dealing with. Right? These pages have been eaten away by something. But there's still information on there that we can read. So I'll just go through this one. So I was concentrating on these listings here. So this one, excuse my Greek, as I said, I don't speak Greek, but this one's 1772. That says September 30.
I see your dress and everything.
I'm
not dressed. I put a dress on, so I could talk.
Okay, just stop there, Amalia. Just that poter means of the late.
Of the late, yes. The father had passed away. So this is the birth of a so see the word just Ioannis. And then it mentions godparents, and that's it for that listing. So that one's actually quite easy. Yeah, and yes, that is one of the easy ones. And you get, so this one's Triada. Now, this one, this priest has got, that listing looks like one long word. And that says the same information as, any of the other listings that we read. And when you know what you're looking for, where are we looking? That's the date. That's the date written in long language. And then the child's name's down the bottom, Maria. So once you know what you're looking for, they're actually not that hard, but some of them, so this one, why have I put this one out? This one's a pretty good example. This one's spaced out pretty clearly. The information gets a little bit more detailed as you go. We've got this one, so in this case, we've got the wife's name as well now, as we go further back in time. The godparents, the child's name is Panayoti and 9 days old. So you know when he's born. Now, this date at the beginning is just the baptism date. So now you know this child was born 9 days
earlier. Can I just interject there? So what I have found doing a bit more research into all of this is that it appears when the English came, there was a lot more structure that was being put
Yes.
into these registries, and they
Yes.
actually got more and more detailed with the English occupation.
Yes, and you can see that as you go through the years. This writing here is typical of the 1770s, 1780s. And as I said, there's 14,000 pages like this to go through. Now, as they got to 1841, Kalie, 1841?
Yeah, 1841. What I believe, and I've found a little bit of documentation, is that there was a decree done by Queen Victoria throughout the empire, and it appears that this fell into line even in Kythera, that records had to become more standardized and detailed. And so you're actually finding that some start in some of the villages around about 1840. I think one or two that I found.
41's the standard.
But yeah, the majority, 41 or 42 in a lot of the other churches.
Do you want to describe what you can find on these ones, Kalie?
A lot.
Kalie read most of these ones. Actually,
Yeah,
Kalie read
I
all
love
of them.
these. So, I mean, it looks quite daunting, but
You left me with the other ones.
The way that they introduce it is that they'll always do the dates at the top. And then then what happens is the priests actually introduce themselves, that they are the priests of that parish, and they even give their father's names. So it's a lot of information. The very beginning is all about the priest, all about the parish. So, and then what happens is then, similar to the ones Amalia was reading, is that it comes down and it starts to talk about the person, the father.
In this case, Haralambos Kombis of Theodoros.
Yeah, of Theodoros. And then it gives ages, and then it also gives occupations, which was fabulous. So this is where the information has started to increase. And it tells you exactly where the child was born. It tells you what time the child was born.
The mother?
The mother. It gives the mother's details. It gives the mother's father's name.
Her surname? First time you see the mother's surnames?
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And then it goes on to even give you details about who the godparents are and their parents.
And what I love about these, there's a signature.
Yeah.
So look at that. That's Haralambos. That's the father's name. So that's your great-great-grandfather or great-great-great-grandfather. You can see his handwriting. And I think, for me anyway, I don't know about you, Kalie, but when you see something like that in writing, it makes these names on a piece of paper a real person. You realise somebody with that name was standing there writing that.
Yeah.
And in this case, he was educated enough to be able to write that. Something like the village like Kytherian, I think look, I did this a long time ago, but I think there's only something like 3 signatures in the whole book, because not many, except for the priests, not many of them were educated. They couldn't even write their own names. So that's fascinating.
And this also shows you how education under the British became quite common. And in fact, you know, I've done, as Amalia and I have done research, we have found that it was actually compulsory.
Yeah.
Education was compulsory in Kythera under the British.
Yeah. And in this case, here's this one, 1732. That also says 1732. I mean, it's just, yeah. It took us a long time to get to do this, but we mastered it. It took us, I would say, 2 years, Kalie, before we mastered this?
Yeah,
this
is a lot of research. It's just like looking at these, but we have done a lot of research to try and find out why things were written in a you know, and it's just, yeah, a lot of research goes into not just reading, but how and why, and it's, you know, exactly
what we're reading.
And what we're reading, that's right.
These listings are from 1680s. This is one of the oldest we found. There's some wonderful stuff in here. We found, remember, Kalie, we found that priest was saying about the Armada. He's watching the Armada sailing past Kythera.
There was, I've come across a few really interesting ones, you know, in the late 1700s, and one of them was a priest, and he's watching the French Armada coming into Kythera.
And he's describing it.
So that's a real historic. There's another priest also who's writing in retrospect, not long after the start of the revolution against the Turks, and he's actually saying about there is a war that's starting on the Peloponnese, and we've had word about this war. Amazing stuff. It's such historical stuff.
What frustrates me is they don't put the cause of death on anything, which I would love to know. But every now and then on the certificate, and I'm saying maybe 20 times in total, we've seen some cause of death. Remember death by thunderbolt, Kalie?
No, that was in the church registers, Amalia.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading, the church registers.
Yeah. You said the certificate.
Oh, sorry, the church registers. Yeah. It says death by thunderbolt. An old man and his 5-year-old granddaughter were struck by lightning. There was another case where it described there was a shipwreck, and everybody called out for helpers. And this, I forget his name, dived into the water. He ducked down to get help. He brought something up. He ducked down a second time. He didn't come up. And the fisherman found his body the day later around in Kapsali or something. So there is some really interesting stuff there. But again, 14,000 pages of this, and we found maybe 20 exciting things like that. Yeah. So don't think you're going to find exciting stuff. Oh, the guy that was in the lazaretto for the quarantine station, and he died walking home once he'd finished his quarantine.
he collapsed outside of Logothetianica and died.
Okay, so that's back to that. So back to this screen. So these certificates, these church registers, depending on the year.
Vikki? I was just going to say, I'm looking at the time, and what I'd like to maybe take a little break, because I'd like to do the prize drawing and do the group photo, and then maybe breakout rooms, and then come back, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that have questions, but you can continue in between breakout rooms.
I was just going to say, at the end, you're going to be able to show anyone anything. If they have a question, you're going to you're going to be spending about 15 minutes finding something for them. So yeah,
I can do that if you want. But
so I'm not saying stop. I'm just saying take a quick break and then and come back. But finish what you were saying.
I was just going to say, Vikki, that this is enough to keep people going for months and months and months. I don't really need to describe anymore. And this answers what I've done is answered the majority of the questions that have come through too.
Okay. Well, what we'll do then is when we come back, what we'll do is, like I said, what I would like everyone to do is grab something that has to do with Kythera that we can take a group photo with. I found some really old books that my mom had. This one was from 1956.
What's in it?
Kythera. It's all in Greek, so I have no idea. No, actually, it's poems. It's a lot of poems, but I don't know. I haven't read them. But do that, and while you're grabbing something, I'm going to get ready for our drawing, and we'll do the drawing next.
Do animals count?
We have a dead Zorida, is that it? No.
No, I've got
cats.
1, 2, hold on, 2. I've got 3, where's the third one?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. You don't have to show the thing yet, because I'm going to do the drawing first. So
they'll get too bored otherwise. No,
okay, so the people that are on this list for the drawing are people that registered by the 7th. So here we go. We're going to spin it. Okay, Andrea Kalakerinos, first prize. So first prize is a movie code to one of James Pernea's, well, no, it's actually Kythera Mon Amour. Okay, so I have 3 of those. So Andrea will get the first one. And Sam, do me a favor and just write this down so I can keep going. I can always watch the thing again, but it'd be easier to do that. So let's see.
Okay, hang on a sec.
Okay, so Andrea will remind me. Here we go again. Anthony Cominos. Okay, are you still here, Tony? Tony? Unmute yourself if you're here. He was here earlier.
Hi, Mia.
Okay, there you go.
Hi,
You-
Vikki.
there
Hi,
you go.
Amalia.
I couldn't imagine that you would have left early. Okay, we're going on for the third movie. Laura, are you still here, Laura? Unmute yourself. She was here earlier. Okay, let's see. You know what? I said you had to be here, but I'm going to make an exception for her because she's been going through chemo and she gets tired very easily. So I think she has a good reason for signing off early. So that's our third movie. Okay, so the next two prizes are donated. Those were donated by James Perneas. And the next ones were donated by Amalia. And you might have seen on her website that she has puzzle books. So there are 4 different books. And so one prize will be 2 books. And the second prize will also be 2 books. And Amalia, how do you want to do that? Do you want to let them choose which one they want?
No, how about I just do volume 1 and volume 1 of both the
Okay.
the word searches and the find a word, the spot the difference, and then volume 2 and volume 2.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Kalie, you lucky girl. Where are you, Kalie? I can't hear her.
How about you redraw it, Kalie?
I think we need to redraw that.
Okay, we'll redo that one. Okay. All right, Steve Docking, are you still here? You're here, aren't you?
Yes, I'm
There
here.
you are. You're a lucky winner.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Steve, I've got your email address. I'll send them through to you.
Thanks, Marley. Or Amalia.
Yeah.
One more. Okay, Nicholas, I don't think he made it today. Nicholas, are you here? No, he didn't make it. Okay, let's try. Kendra, are you still here? She was here.
Yeah, I saw her there earlier. I don't know if she's still here though.
Yeah, I think she might have left. Okay, we're going to keep going. Dean Poulos. All right.
Hey, what's going on? I never win anything.
There you
Thank you very
go.
much.
Somebody
Okay.
send me his email address so I can sort that out.
Congratulations, Dean.
Just send it to my father, Amalia, whatever.
Okay, I've got his address. I got his address.
Okay. All right. Are we ready to do some pictures? So get whatever you want to show and show it up here like this. And I'm going to start doing some screenshots. And I'll probably do a few. Well, I will do more than a few because we're on 2 pages. So I'll probably go back and forth. But okay. Everybody looking at the camera? I know it's hard to get. We are now 50 participants. That's a lot of us. So ready? Oh, there's the cat. Okay, I did one. Okay, let me go for the next one. Sorry about that. Oh, Sam has got on our masks that we gave out at our first Zoom as a gift. It says Kythera on it. All right, ready? Eleni, what are you holding there? We got to see that. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, but don't hide your face. We want to see you too. Okay, ready. Okay, I'm going to keep taking some. So just keep smiling. I'm gonna take a bunch. And somebody's just coming in again, so let me admit her. And if you have more than one thing you want to show, you can always switch it out and show something else too. Still taking pictures. Sam, why don't you take screenshots too? We'll pick the best ones.
I'm doing that.
Are you? Thanks. It's amazing how difficult it is to find pictures where everybody is looking, because you've got a lot of people here. So, all right, let's see. I actually have everybody on one screen now. There's 49 of us.
Just going to get out of the way so you can see the background, because the background is better than my face.
There you go. Okay, but I want your face in there too. Get your face in there, Sam. There you go.
Well, can't you see my face there? It's my son and me and my son and Vlamanas.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Got to let somebody in. I think people.
It's all right. I got it.
I think people must be getting
Do it too.
kicked out because they are going out and coming in again. All right. Here we go. Smile. Okay, that should be good. All right. That's my dog. My husband just got home, so he's got to be the welcoming committee. And he's going to shut up, hopefully, in just a second. What I'll do is see, there's 40 of us.
No, my dog's barking because she heard yours.
Okay.
You scared my 5 cats away, so yeah,
Oh.
that's the.
Okay.
Are you gonna break out, Vikki, or?
Okay, so what I thought I would do is just and I'm trying to. I actually don't have anybody assigned. I'm trying to think of. Okay, so I assigned names to the rooms, but I don't have anybody in the rooms. But what I'd like to allow you to do is switch between rooms and go to a room that you want to go to. Some people might be able to figure that out and some people might not. So, and the Zoom application, go ahead, Dean, did you want to say something? Oh.
It's relatively easy. You'll be sent to a room and then there'll be the option to look at the tables essentially, or the rooms that are available, and all you have to do is just join the room that you want to go to. But it does depend on the limit that you set, Vikki. So
and then you can move from one room to another if you want to.
Right. So just right now, I am just sort of randomly assigning people to rooms, and you don't have to stay there, or you can try it out.
Vikki, this is Sponticus. I have to leave soon, but based on what the two ladies were talking about and the tombstones and the cemeteries, I just wanted to, could I have a minute?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. This is a book written by a young man in Baltimore. It's called Gone but Not Forgotten. And it's a, you know what it is.
Amalia. You bought a copy for me to send to Amalia.
Okay. So in Baltimore, this young man recorded every tombstone or every burial in Baltimore at the old cemeteries. And in one section, there are a whole lot of Kytherian people buried. And one of the most impressive statues is a statue of a great uncle of mine. It's a full lifetime statue of Evangelos Tzortzopoulos. And then there's also a beautiful statue at the Cavacos. I just wanted to mention, I was surprised to see that we're not the only ones looking at the cemeteries. So everything.
Oh no, cemeteries are fabulous.
You've got, okay, I'm the one that got.
Thank you very much. I do love it. It's right here.
Yeah. And you look at the Evangelos Tzortzopoulos.
I saw that. That's amazing.
And on the same page is the Cavacos family, and there's a Cominos family. So the Kytherians seem to be all lumped in the same section of the cemetery.
Yeah, that's on page 95.
Yeah, and when I see,
I'll have to come over and have a look at the book, because I know you were telling me you were receiving it, and I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Oh, the young man who did the book, I saw him in church Sunday, and I said, the Kytherians are in love with your books. They've gone to Australia and California, and he was really thrilled. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's been a wonderful meeting today, and I do have to go. And I'm glad I saw some of our Baltimore Kytherians as well. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Chris.
You're welcome. I can find my way to.
And thanks for bringing me the book. She came all the way out to California with
to bring you the books.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate it anyway.
That is
No,
commitment. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, hang on. I am still just moving people to rooms, just sort of randomly. And then we will go into rooms. And let's just kind of stay in those rooms for this one. And then next time, we'll see what we want to change. Okay, I think I have them sort of even. Hopefully I have everybody assigned.
Vikki?
Yes.
I wanted to just tell you that Diane had to leave. She was in a very bad accident today.
Oh, no.
And she actually didn't get home from the hospital until about 3:45.
Oh, my God.
So, and she's on drugs, and she's texted me to say, I can't keep my eyes open. Please tell them goodbye and a great meeting. And just wanted to let you know that.
Oh, thank you for letting me know. God,
Yeah.
I'll have to send her a
She's
note.
okay, but she's banged up.
Yeah, gosh. Okay, so we're going to go into these rooms and we'll stay there for about 10 minutes. And then you'll get a notice that the room is going to close. So you'll have like 30 seconds. So kind of wrap it up so you don't get cut off in the middle of a sentence. Okay, here we go.
We did.
Very
Thank you
nice.
very much.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Before we move on, Joanna Panadatos is here from Tasmania. Do you want to unmute yourself? And she is going to have to leave, but she has a request of everyone. So go ahead, Joanna.
Hello. I can see Helene and Angela have come on, so that's lovely to see you. And Harry from Kythera. So there are some people that I know. I would love if anybody has a recipe for a Kytherian tsoreki. So I have supplied my email address, and if anyone by chance has one, I'd appreciate it if you could send me the recipe. That'd be fabulous. Thank you.
I would love to receive that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, it's Trini here. The Kytherian Kitchen did a cooking course here in Sydney many years ago, and there is a recipe for tsoreki. So what I'll do is I'll get that, and then I'll get your details and I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. And if I can come back a bit later in the day, this will go for a number of hours, will it?
Vikki, you
You're
have
muted.
muted
You're muted.
yourself.
Rini, can you hear me? It's Maria Lombi.
I stay here as long as people want to continue to chat. And last time we were here almost 8 hours.
I think it was
For
6
the end.
a.m. Kytherian time. So we started at 11 p.m. Kytherian time and finished at 6. So
Whoa.
6 hours.
Order for the group.
Lucky you have your cat.
I've got 4 at the moment. Look, 1, 2, 3 here, and then another 4th one here. So
Wow.
yeah, they're all just chilling.
I love that. That's the best. That's the best therapy and medicine.
Okay, here we are.
Thank you.
Anyone want to share anything about their last room? Or...
I did have, if you will allow me, Vikki, while we were on the island in the winter, we had, hold on, let me get a bit more, let me get my posture sorted. There we go. We had a series of bike races all throughout every village of Kythera called the Svelter races. They were organized by Pavlos Koroneos, who most of you will probably have met at some point at the Karavas Bakery. He, along with his bike company, Mazipeti, that he works in collaboration with someone else, had a series of bike races that got the community together. We had some children's races where they would go around each village. We had a male and a female run and a male and a female bike run. He asked me if it was possible that I could help him just to film some drone footage, because I've you know, my father being my father, he's purchased a very expensive drone. So I just wanted to show maybe a minute or two of some of the footage around Kythera. I believe it was Kastrijanica, Ayer Palagia, Karava, and a couple of other things. So hold on one second. Let me get my Facebook. I've got this. So we had the Karava run.
Oh, this is awesome.
Lovely.
Oh, wow.
You don't notice it in the summer because everything turns a bit brown and a bit orange, but in the winter everything's quite green. So this was our Karavas run. We had the children practicing the day before the race in Kastrijanica, which is in the middle between Frilinjanica and the airport. We had a very lovely one, which was probably the most successful one, if I'm being biased, in Karava. And obviously, if anyone is from the north, you'll understand this is the road to Amir Ali, leading up all the way through. So the bikes went through the village, the cemetery, of course. Obviously you can see that luckily we had some very good rainfall this year, so we don't end up with quite so bad a environment here. We're still in a bit of a drought, but it's a lot better at the moment. So if you are recognizing your houses or anything like that, you know, you could be happy that they're quite safe and sound. This was Kastrijanica again. We just had a couple of, you know, basically a very community affair. So that was the main crux of what occurred in the last year and a bit. I'm going to stop now. Yeah, we basically with COVID, we had to kind of adapt. There aren't any village festivals going on in the summer, and most of the restaurants try to advocate for as many people as they can get during the seasons and stuff like this. Summer was very different, you know, without Australians. It does make for a very different experience in Kythera. We're still very busy in the summer, but through the winter, it was through these efforts that we were able to sort of come together as a community, especially with this bike race for the children, really, because at the moment there really isn't much for them to do other than go to school and be educated, essentially. Titsa.
Yes, Dean. Roughly how many people are on the island in the winter?
Roughly how many people? You would be surprised. About 1,300. All
More than
throughout
I
the
thought.
island, about 1,300. But again, come Christmas, there's about 1,700. Come Easter, it's about double 4,000 because families come back from Athens. So at the moment, it's increasing in business.
Building up for Easter.
Yeah, and it's been one of the windiest winters in the last 4 years, because I've been here 4 years now. Every winter has been vastly different. The first winter we had, I think 8 or 10 times the rainfall. So you would go from village to village and you would drive through a river to get through to the next village. The next one was sunny and nothing. You didn't have any water, you just had sun. It was just a nice winter. This last winter, I think it was about 8 or 9 Beaufort for about 2 months. And for any of the non-sailors here, that means that it was just wind. All you heard was wind. And living on the top of a mountain, all I can hear is a trumpet in my ears, basically for the last 2.5 months. It's a vastly different winter. But we did have snow for the first time since, I believe, 2016. So it snowed for 3 days. We had, Kytherian snowmen with cigarettes in their mouths, and you're able to create what you could. But yeah, it's one of those islands that you never know what you're going to get in the winter, and when it's good, and when it's bad, it can be quite bad. So yeah.
It's kind of like the rest of the world. We don't know what we're getting from day to day anymore.
Exactly.
We've had a lot of wind here in Maryland. Oh my gosh, it's been crazy. That we can appreciate what you're saying.
Dean, I'm not too sure you should be promoting the wind aspect of it. It's giving food to those wind turbine people.
Oh yes, no. We can power the island for the next 10 years with the amount of wind we've had in 7 days. But don't let anyone else know.
If you're complaining about the natural wind, I hate to think of what the windmills will do.
What is the status about these windmills? Because we don't want them there, obviously. It's too small an island to have windmills. So where is that up to?
Yeah, Angela, we had a very good presentation in the beginning of this Zoom from, what was her name?
Peggy.
So if you go back and this is being recorded, if you go back and hear it again from the beginning, she brought us right up to date with the current appeals were rejected and said they're going to the next stage. No, that's a bad.
Oh, the appeals were rejected. Oh, no.
The appeals against the installations, against the licenses were rejected.